Glad to have you with us here on Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we have 3 blockbuster trade targets who could be headed to Seattle prior to training camp. We'll tell you who those are and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, Seahawks fans, name a player the Seahawks should trade for. We've heard Pete Carroll say within the last several weeks that they are not done making moves quite yet, that they still feel like that they need to get this roster in order, make a couple other moves potentially before the season begins. What should a potential trade be? It's been a long time since the Seahawks made a trade. Tell us in the comment section. We'll get started with today's show. So here's how this works. I have the top 3 blockbuster trade targets for Seattle, and all 3 are defensive players. And what I've decided to do with today's video is we are looking at legit trade targets where there has been interest in these guys for quite some time and that are being shopped, are being looked at this point in time. Not players that, you know, in theory you'd like to have but aren't really on the market here, and also applying the needs that the Seahawks have as well. So, without further ado, let's get started with Danielle Hunter, the outside linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings. And I got to tell you, Danielle Hunter has had an impressive story for him to get to this point in his career. The 3rd-round pick in 2015 out of LSU has been really good. A 3-time Pro Bowler as recently as last season, also in 2018 and in 2019. He was an all-rookie team selection back in 2015. And he's been successful in different systems. They've changed that defense up there a couple times in Minnesota, and it hasn't mattered. Danielle Hunter has been good the entire time there. And when you look at his stats, one thing in particular is you look back at that 2020 season when he suffered a neck injury and was out for that entire year. He came back the following season, played 7 games, and had 6 sacks in those 7 games, nearly a sack for every game played. And then his first full season back last year, he had 10.5 sacks, 3 pass breakups, 12 tackles for loss, and 65 tackles. He was really good. So an incredible story here with Danielle Hunter of resilience, right? The fact that he could come back from an injury like that, which for a lot of folks would be career-ending. And now he's just played great ever since. And the market for him doesn't seem to be that bad. You're talking about a 2nd-round pick or multiple late-round picks to get this done. The Vikings are in a position where they've paid several guys this offseason to keep around, and Danielle Hunter looks like the guy that could be the odd man out here. So for me, I like Danielle Hunter because I like that it doesn't cost you too much when it comes to giving up assets. To me, you can work with that, giving up multiple mid-round picks or a 2nd-round pick for a player of Danielle Hunter's caliber. You're likely not going to draft a player as good as Danielle Hunter, comparatively speaking, of what you would give up in that trade. So I like the idea personally of Danielle Hunter. It's a great story. Let's see if it happens. So our pinned comment today, let's start with Danielle Hunter. Should the Seahawks trade for Danielle Hunter and bring him into Seattle? Wait in the comment section. Tell me what you think. Y for yes, N for no. Which way you feel. Should Seattle make this move or not? Y for yes, N for no, if they should go after Danielle Hunter. Next on our list is Chase Young out of the Washington Commanders organization. And similar to Danielle Hunter, the Commanders are in a position where they can't pay anybody. They can't pay everybody. And Chase Young might end up being the odd man out here. He started off his career red hot. The number 2 overall pick back in 2020 out of The Ohio State, was a Pro Bowler as a rookie. Also won the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. Things were looking really good for Chase Young. But then the injuries have just really derailed things for Chase Young over the last 2 seasons, with just 12 games played that he has been a part of to this point in time. The numbers from that Pro Bowl rookie season were outstanding. 7.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 44 tackles. He was taking on double teams too, and yet he was still making his presence known. But ever since then, he has not been available and has struggled to stay on the football field with just 5 tackles in 3 games played last year, the year prior, 26 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. Look, there's no denying the talent level of Chase Young, and I think that if he is fully healthy and out there, that you are going to get the caliber player that was the number 2 overall selection a couple of years ago. I'm concerned about the injury history, if it's going to keep up with him. I know that sometimes these deals are just bad luck, right? And you wonder if it's going to turn into a thing where Chase Young is injury prone or if he just moves on and he's okay from here. But that's a lot of time he's missed the last couple of seasons. And sometimes the best availability is availability. And so that's where, for me, there's the concern. I would gladly take Danielle Hunter or Chase Young, either one. I think they both would go a long way for this Seattle Seahawks team and what they're looking for. But I lean towards Danielle Hunter because I've seen him come back from that neck injury with vengeance and prove that he's still got something left in the tank. We haven't seen the comeback yet from Chase Young from his injury struggles at this point in time, but I'd like either guy. If you had to pick one to trade for, which guy you rolling with? If you're going with Danielle Hunter, type D. If you're going with Chase Young, type C. Weigh in the comment section. Tell me which way, one way or the other, you would choose between these two, Danielle Hunter or Chase Young. D for Danielle Hunter, C for Chase Young. Let us know in the comment section below. The 4th of July is just around the corner, and what better way to celebrate America than by rocking with your hawk out, representing your favorite team and these great United States. For the 4th of July, we are selling Seahawks red, white, and blue shirts. The American flag with the Seahawks name and Seahawks logo on it. This looks fantastic, folks. I got to tell you, I love this country. We're the greatest country on earth. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And what better way to celebrate the 4th of July, not only looking patriotic, but also supporting your favorite team as well. These shirts are only available for a limited time at chatsports.com/SeahawksUSA. And I got to tell you this. I was thinking about this deal that we're offering with these shirts, folks. You know, when it comes to St. Patty's Day, we have those Seahawks green gear. And we get to Christmas time, we got the Seahawks Christmas gear. This is something I think that doesn't age, that you can wear the patriotic Seahawks gear all year long because there's never a bad day to be supporting your Seahawks and America at the same time. Get yours now, chatsports.com/SeahawksUSA. That's chatsports.com/SeahawksUSA. The next one on this list, I think he would be the most important of the three to potentially grab, but he would be the most costly of these three to bring in. That is defensive tackle from the New York Jets, Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams, a former first-round pick out of Alabama back in 2019, and he's entering the 5th-year option season at $9.5 million. And that may sound like a lot right now, but you look to the future and things are going to be really going up for Quinnen Williams. The reason why that he's in a dispute right now with the Jets over his contract situation is he's looking for an upwards of $23 million per year in his next deal. Now, the Jets are saying they want to keep him and hold on to him, but until a deal hits pen to paper, then you have to think that he is a trade target, and he'd be a great fit for this Seattle Seahawks team. First-team All-Pro in 2022. He was not just one of the best defensive players in the league last year. He was one of the best players in all of football in 2022. Look at these numbers here, folks. The numbers never lie. 28 QB hits, 12 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, and 55 tackles. Quinnen Williams is that dude. He is an excellent player with a bright future. But the asking price is not going to be cheap because his trade value is, without a doubt, the highest of the three players we mentioned. And then the salary portion of it as well, paying him close to $10 million this year and $23 million beyond. That's a huge asking price for the Seattle Seahawks, or any team for that matter, to take on. So could it be worth it? Potentially speaking, but it is a lot. And we've seen in the past when the Seahawks have made some trades for something that cost them a lot in assets, in salary. Case in point, Jamal Adams, who went to the New York Jets, and how that worked out. So you still have to keep that in mind, too, potentially there. It would not be cheap, but it could be a situation where the benefits outweigh the risk. So we'll see. Should the Seahawks trade for Quinnen Williams? What do you think? Weigh in the comment section. Tell me what you think one way or the other. T for trade, P for pass. Should they make this move for Quinnen Williams? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. T for trade, P for pass. Hit me up on social media. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is where you can follow me talking about your Seattle Seahawks. And I'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today.